All right. So let's try all this again. There she is. All right. I'm just going to change it to this. All right. Now I've got both on the screen. Hey.
It's working.
I love technology.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
There. And that's that you can see there's a candle. It looks like I have like a bottle of wine behind me, which
beautiful.
In lockdown.
Candle, wine, everything works. Good combination.
Yeah. All right. So this is our first Live at Lunch interview, and hopefully next week I have it all sorted out and we can actually do it directly into the group. But I just need to study technology for a little bit longer. So today we have the lovely Sofia, our new-ish yoga teacher. And it's quite funny. I was actually just thinking that it's like history repeating itself, because last year we just had Kat start with us and then we went into lockdown, and it was just the open day as well. And it was just like, wow, it's all happening exactly the same way again. It's so weird.
Maybe it's a bad omen that new yoga teachers are starting.
Like, don't do it. Just don't.
No.
Okay. So I haven't actually prepared any questions because I just want to make this the most normal conversation possible. So really why I brought you on today is because I want to help introduce you to our members and just find out a little bit more about you.
Sure.
Cool. So let's start with the whole why yoga?
Why yoga? Right. So I probably started about when I was 23. So it's about 13 years ago. And there was this kind of pull inside me that I needed to do something different. So I came from quite a self-destructive, late teens and 20s. And I just kind of felt like there must be another way to kind of feel good and not like destroying ourselves in the process. And for me, that was kind of like that urge for self-discovery and to look after ourselves, and so I started to study a life coach diploma in Sweden, where I'm from, born and raised. So I studied that, and then on that same school they offered like a yoga therapy yoga teacher training, and I was like, maybe I should do both, because at the time I had my Australian partner, and he suggested that, and I was like, yeah, actually that's probably not a bad idea. And so I just joined the two courses, and then we just kind of discussed this, like, okay, well, I was like, why yoga? For me, when I first tried it, I came from like a tennis background, so my body was really stiff and quite unbalanced, I suppose. And when I first started it, I was like, wow, like I discovered muscles that I never had. But the way I felt after was really empowering. I don't think I've ever felt so like in tune with my body. And that's when I kind of understood that, everything that we've been going through is in our body. And while I was doing the teacher training, I had a lot of trauma coming up, like I came into poses and I just started to cry and I couldn't like explain why I felt this way. And it was basically just because my self-destructive past, that I have just suppressed emotions, and they were like, felt like they were stored and stuck in my body. So when I did yoga, it was quite, confronting, because I was like, oh my gosh, like, why am I feeling all these things? So basically it got me to get to know myself. And the more and the longer I did it, like the whole education was about, or the whole course was about a year. And, the progress that I did there was incredible, because we had to do like yoga every day, and I did that, and just walking, and I lost like 10 kilos, and it was just like this slow but really mindful journey. And I think for me that was a huge shift, and I just went from like, being this wild party girl to not wanting to do anything, become vegetarian, and just like completely flipped. And people are like, whoa, what's going on? And I'm like, well, I respect myself now. Like it just went from that self-destructiveness to actually self-respect and self-love. And, that changed my life. Like that kind of built me up that courage to like move to the other side of the world, like from Sweden to Australia, and just felt like I need to share this. If I've had such an opening for me, like, you know, wanting to not look after myself, to just like, okay, wow, this is incredible. I really want to make sure that people know this secret, you know. It was kind of like I felt, yeah, I don't know, it was just like a huge eye opener to just like, wow, like we actually can function a lot better. We can look after our emotional needs, and by just being in tune and just by breathing, you know, like I've probably been running on like that sympathetic nervous system and fight and flight like most of my life. But here was just like this whole new world that I'm just like, wow. And even to this day, you know, like there's not one yoga class that I regret that I'm doing. It's the ones that I'm not going to and do. And even teaching, I love it every time I go on the mat. Like it's not one class where I feel like, oh, so I don't want to be here today. You know, like sometimes we have our lows, but to just literally step on the mat, just my genuine self, and just share from where I'm at is epic. And, you know, like I say that yoga fixes like everything, like creating those weird shapes and coming into your breath. It really awakens you to become a better person, because you're starting to, you know, you get to know your body. It's like a self-discovery, basically. It's like you're going on an exploration in your body. And, you know, that kind of led me to understand, and then just trying to help myself by different stretches. If I felt that there was stuff going on in my body, rather than it going for too long, I just did a couple of stretches, did a couple of breaths, and, you know, it was amazing. Like, so for me, it's been a huge, like it was huge for me, that difference that I felt.
Quite a journey.
Yeah.
So, there's so many follow-up questions popping up. I'm just like, okay. So, first thing I would say is, well, this is amazing. It's like, I can totally see how that slow transition would have helped so much. And so one question is, because lots of people see yoga as a little bit woo-woo kind of, you know, they're still not quite sure about it, because they think it's very spiritual, and you have to be spiritual in order to do it, and that you have to believe in something in some sort. Do you consider yourself a spiritual person?
Well, spirituality is when we are in tune with ourselves. That's how I reckon. It doesn't need to be that we admire something else or a higher force in any kind. It's actually literally just to honor yourself, and coming from that place of being kind and humble towards yourself, and then that ripples out, you know. So I don't believe that yoga is, you know, oh my gosh, we have to worship all these gods and everything. It's like literally just to teach yourself, like to look after yourself, so that you can be that person, and in that way just spreading the love and light. And I think for me, yoga opened up so many opportunities for me to like shine who I was, like not being, you know, triggered by the old stuff that's been happening, just maybe become a better person. And I really think that, you know, that's all we need, is to become aware of how we're using our words, what we're doing with our actions, how we treat people. You know, like for me, that is to be connected to self and connected to love, you know, because that's essentially what it comes down to, is that we're not living from that place of fear. So like the whole thing about it being spiritual, I just see it as like, no, you're actually just connecting to yourself, and you don't need a higher force to get there. You just literally need your breath, you know, and that awareness. So I think, you know, you can say whatever, but that's the divine in you, you know, that's all you need.
Yeah, I love that very much. So if you I guess if you could tell people to start with one thing, and especially now during the lockdown, like one thing that they could do every day to get that connection with self, do you have like a certain movement pattern or something that you would go through as like the one thing to do?
Well, the most basic thing is to take a deep breath to your belly and just connect, you know, like it's literally, even like to get your parasympathetic nervous system activated, like to just kind of get rid of like all the thoughts and the craziness, is to take a full deep breath in through your nose. And when you sigh out through the mouth, something happens, like we're activating the vagus nerve in our body straight away. So that is just a sign for the body. It's like, okay, it's okay for us to relax. So even like doing that 3 times when we feel overwhelmed, it's such a simple tool. It's like, okay, it's a reset for our body. And yesterday my son was a little bit kind of on the edge, you know, like hyperactive, and I just like pressed his hand and I said, let's reset, take a deep breath in through your nose and open through the mouth. And he literally did it, and within seconds he was like, okay.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that reset. Like that's all our nervous system needs, is that deep breath. So you can even do it by holding the hand on your heart and just like, because it kind of gives you that permission, and like smile. Like we need to relax, you know, in our face. Like we're clenching up, we're breathing just up in shallow, like in our upper lungs, and, you know, clenching our jaws and like frowning. And it's like, hey, smiling is the best way to relax our face muscles. So why not do that? I always end my classes like, exhale and smile, because it's like it just gives that kind of spark to the body of like, hey, it's okay, let's just chill, you know. And some days you might not even feel it, but it's like forcing yourself to like stand in front of the mirror and just like, we can do this, you know. Like we need to ignite that spark and hope constantly within us, you know. And I think just like a simple breath is the one thing that I always do. It's like it's like a check-in. It's like, how's that going?
Yeah, I think sometimes we just forget to do it, that we get so worked up in whatever is going on around us that we just forget to actually stop and breathe for a second.
And that's the thing, and that's what I mean. It's yoga's not a spiritual thing, it's just about breath, and for you to feel that you are in your body rather than your mind running the show all the time, because there's heaps of stuff we need to do, but we can do it one thing at the time, one breath at the time. It doesn't need to happen like in a super speed, you know, because that's how we're losing connection. That's how, you know, we're getting into stress. That's how we're getting into depression. It's because we're losing that connection with our breath. If you're looking at a baby, when they're breathing, their whole body is moving. You know, that's how we are meant to breathe. Like we are meant to breathe, expanding there into our belly, into our sides. But up here, it's like people having problems with asthma, like it is usually sometimes because it is pretty tight, especially around, you know, your intercostal muscles and everything around our lungs. Our lungs actually can't expand. It's like so tightening the muscles that it just happens to be that we just keeping our breath here. But if we all can learn how to breathe, we will just have a lot more calm in the world, you know.
And absolutely, 100%. I agree. Okay, so what's my other question? Okay, because I want them to get to know you as well, just on a personal level, can you tell us something that not many people know about you?
Oh, wow. Well, probably when I'm a yoga teacher, I'm quite like serious, but in my daily life, I'm very cheeky and joking around and laughing and just trying to kind of find the joy in everything. Pretty mischievous actually. But what else? Like, there's a lot of things that people don't know about me.
Random fact.
Well, actually, when I'm stressed, I clean.
Okay, nice.
One of those things when I'm really stressed, I just like need to sort it all out and just clean. I not manically, but I just like give me a good kind of reset, I suppose. Most people probably know that I have a son. He's 8.5. His name is Geordie. And I also have a fur baby, Marley. She's 10. But more personal about me, I guess I'm just like cheeky, hey, like really cheeky.
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah.
So outside of BodyKraft and the yoga classes, and I know you teach at other places as well, what else do you currently do? Like, what is Sofia Pila all about?
Sofia Pila is all about living in our passion and creativity and not letting our creativity just sit in our heart. Like, I really believe that we all have something to share. So I want to inspire people, and what I do now is creating music and yoga together, which is a concept called Pila Flow. So I've basically created a whole album, instrumental music that will guide you through the different elements. So it's starting with earth, working through water, coming into fire, and then into air and ether. And I shared this a couple of weeks ago. That was the launch of everything. And you know, like throughout the show or sessions or whatever you can call it, pillar flow, the concept, I felt that both my passions yoked in together. So it was like my gift of like sharing yoga and movements to get people into their bodies, but then also to feel it on a deeper level with the music that I have created for the certain movements, and the different elements. So I wrote the songs in all different keys, so it's kind of working up in your chakras in your body as well.
I've listened to the
you know,
album. I listened to it the other night when I was cooking dinner. I had my headphones on and just listened to it, and I loved it. Yeah, it was so good.
thank you for listening. That's awesome. And I think when it's done live, like I actually play the instruments throughout it as well. So it's kind of like that improvisation throughout it as well. And I adding, you know, that's why the music is very simple, so that I can teach over and talk over it, but without it being too much overwhelming music in the background. But then when people are in the flow, I actually jump on my instruments, and, you know, I love playing all the instruments. So there's songs where I play like the percussion, or I jump on the guitar or the bass or whatever I can get my hands on, or just like doing some vocals. So it's kind of like a whole interactive, nearly not a show, because it's more about like you as a yogi or as a person to come there to feel and experience something, you know. And that's basically what I wanted to share, and I'm all for that, you know, like moving to music, and then also like having the music in different keys so that it works up along your body. So I studied sound therapy the last couple of 4 months, and I understand like how much we can actually, you know, tune into vibration and frequency and actually heal the cells, you know, like even muscles and stuff, by using different hertz, different keys, like all of that kind of like scientific background is the whole concept of pillar flow. It's like, no, because people were like, man, I felt like in that fire song that, you know, my heart chakra was really opening up, because I was like, great, because I wrote that in that key. So then I know it works, you know. And
that is so awesome.
You can just see, so there's like a lot of thought behind it. And I guess it's like everything that I've learned over the years is now integrated into one thing that I am so, so excited to share, you know, like, you know, I saw the light that people had after it. And there was people that left, you know, video testimonials and shared what their experience was like straight after the sessions. And the love that I got and the response that I got from after sharing this was just incredible. So I'm just like so pumped with like yoga music is all I want to do, because I've always said that, you know, I never had like I kind of had like jobs, but I always stopped. And my mom was like, you always wanted to do your own thing, because I knew that I was like, actually, no, I believe in my gifts. Like I believe that I can do this, and I'm not going to settle for less, you know. I'm not going to just work with something that doesn't give me joy and happiness. I truly believe that we have to follow our heart, you know, and that is my passion. Like I really want to inspire people to feel that they are connected and feel that it's possible to like work with your desires and work towards your dreams. Like that is, you know, like a spark up, or like a lit up so much, because I want to see people lit up, you know. Like, you know, I think we get caught in this world where we're kind of holding back, and that's why I'm like, no, like if we move to this song, we're just gonna wow, like let it out, you know. And
I love
think
that
also
so much. It's I'm so excited for you, and I'm so excited to attend one of those events as well. Do you have any coming up in the future? I guess with the lockdown now, it's kind of
I had one coming up in July, but we postpone it. So the next one will be the 29th of August. It's a Sunday. And I'm not sure how many shows I'm going to put on yet, but it will probably be 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. Last time I had 3 in one day on the 20th of June. But I am so excited to share this, you know, and have a good team to get to make all of this possible. And it's just like, you know, like how lucky I am to like be able to like share my passions, like which is yoga and music. Like I'm burning for it, you know, like I can't wait to share more.
And you can tell it's when you talk about this, it's like your whole face lights up, your body is moving, like everything is,
oh man, I can't sit still now, just like you
I love it. It's so good. It's so nice to see when people actually follow their passion and do what is right for them and what feels right in their heart as well. Because when that
that's what I want to do, you know, that's what I want to help people to get, like even if it is just like to come to a yoga class, it's like it just makes me so happy when people are connected to themselves. And that's all I want to share. It doesn't have to be spiritual. It doesn't have to be any other way. Like, I just literally want to light up, the love that I see in each and every one. I just want to see, that spark. And that's what I believe in. And, like, that's for me. Then if I change one person's life, then I know it's like, yes, like it's working, and I'm really, really happy to, be at your gym and to share all this at BodyKraft as well, and just be at different places so you can get different reaches and stuff like that. And, I have yoga students that's been coming to my classes since I started teaching here, 10 years ago.
Yeah, wow.
Which those classes were pretty average because I couldn't talk English that well. So it's like all the body parts.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I would like to look back at those early classes. I'm just like, oh my gosh. But my teacher before I left, like in Sweden, she said, just fake it until you make it.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay,
exactly.
All right.
And that's how it works. I mean, I remember when I first came to Australia, I had a job in a cafe, and somebody asked me to bring him the tongs, and I had no idea what tongs were because I'd never heard that word before. And I was like, I don't know what to do. So yeah, you learn it eventually, and then you just master it, and you do what you need to do.
But I guess it comes from that place of not holding back. We've got to be courageous, we've got to be brave. We've got to put ourselves in, things that feels a little bit uncomfortable and uncertain. But it's the same in a yoga pose. When you're coming into a yoga pose, it's like, oh, feel a bit uncomfortable and uncertain here. But if we're actually like breathing and can calm ourselves in the process, then the poses will feel easier and easier. And that's why it's kind of like, you call it yoga off the mat, but it's exactly what you're doing on the mat. Yes, we do kind of sometimes maybe uncomfortable shapes, and it's because your body's not used to it. But it's like learning to find that tool of the breath and just be okay with what feels uncomfortable at the moment, because it's just a moment in time, and if we can work through that, then we feel like, hey, I did that, like, like keep encouraging ourselves and trusting that our bodies are actually capable of doing a lot more than we think that they can.
Absolutely. And there's one more thing. Like, I find that often flexible people are drawn to yoga because they know they're good at it. And it's the same at the gym. Strong people are drawn to strength training, and agile people are more for, high intensity training. But the thing is, as much as we need to do what's right for our bodies, we also have to work with what's challenging us, and to sort of really go into, like, the people that are good at strength need to do more yoga because it will improve their strength training, and vice versa.
Yes. 100%. And people that are very flexible, I get them to not go as deep and find the stability around the joints instead. So that is kind of like, oh, no, I know you're super, but it's not good to be hypermobile either, because it doesn't, we need to stabilize our joints and feel that we are strong. So that it's interesting, so that's, people can come and stretch it out, and you see dancers and they're very used to it. But I'm like, but hey, try to like actually integrate the joint instead, rather than hypermobility, or like keep increasing your mobility or flexibility, sorry. So it's like, yoga can bring you that balance. It's not about being flexible. And people are always like, but I can't do yoga because I'm not flexible. It's like, I was so tight on my first yoga class that I was like, oh my God. But if you're not doing yoga, like, when you are flexible, you get there to enjoy the journey of like becoming more and more mobile in your body and more connected. So the whole thing of like, I hear it so much, but I'm not flexible, I shouldn't start yoga. It's like, no, that's exactly why you should start yoga. Because it's not just about being flexible, because people think that, oh, well, you got to look a certain way. But for me, it's like, yoga is not at all about how it looks. It's about how it feels. And like, you can really trace the whole sensation, from your standing pose, like from your foot into your knee, into your hip, and then the upper body. Like, how does it actually feel to be in that pose? How can you make yourself more stable and strong in this moment, right? So it's not so much about, oh, okay, it doesn't look that way, my leg is not that way. It's really like an internal practice. It's like, okay, you going into your body, scanning through each posture that you're in, and the breath is taking you there, And that's what I'm, really want to emphasize on is like, it's not about how it looks, it's about how it feels and how it makes you feel, because that's, how I started. It made me feel a lot calmer, more self-love, more self-respect, and just I became a better person. Like I stopped being a bitch, I stopped giving my shit to other people. I took responsibility. Okay, or I might be angry, but no one else should have that. I'm not just going to dish it out. Got to take that responsibility. And I think in the end of the day, that's what yoga gives you, that self-awareness, and that's the key.
Yeah, I always say it starts with awareness, because once you're aware, you can actually make decisions based on that. And yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it was awesome chatting with you. I think we could go on for another hour or so just talking about this, but I said I would keep these really short so people will actually watch them from start to finish. So thank you so much for your time, and I'm going to just get this uploaded into the group so people can actually watch it. I might actually put it on our Facebook page as well, because I think this was a good chat and people should see it.
Nice.
Awesome.
So good.
Thank you so much
for inviting me to the BodyKraft live TV.
Yes, I know, right? It's a new thing. I'm still getting used to it. I need to figure out how I'm going to angle my camera. I'm sort of ducking to have my hair in it, but that's right.
No, you're doing good. You're doing good. You're nailing it. It's so good.
Yeah.
What you're offering is great. So thank you for letting me be a part of that.
And have a wonderful day, weekend. I don't even know, just lockdown. Enjoy the lockdown, and we'll see you on Tuesday at 6:30 for another virtual class.
5:30?
Oh, it's 5:30. Yes, 5:30 Tuesday.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.